We are recording.
Welcome into Pay Dirt Sports. This is Will Dundon here with Nick Truschel and Seth Coggin here to talk kind of everything that happened over the weekend. Pretty big weekend. So we had pretty much basketball, baseball, a little bit of everything going on. So first of all, we'll kick it off, guys. Good news for everyone. Coach K, Gonzo. Also, though, I guess the first question I could ask, do you think he is Gonzo for good?
I mean, some people are talking about he might take a page out of Brady's book and do a little reversal on this retirement. I don't know. I could see Coach K doing it with getting bounced by UNC in the last game, in the not winning the ACC, and then getting bounced in the Final Four by North Carolina after meeting for the first time. Obviously, a lot was left on the court for Coach K. I mean, a Final Four appearance, you really can't complain, but I think in his head that might have pissed him off enough to maybe rethink the retirement a little bit. I could see it, but I mean, he's also been coaching since 1980. So 42 years is a long time. And he's probably wants to spend some time with his family. So it'd be tough for him not to call it quits after this whole, I mean, the way he made a retirement tour out of it and everything. And I mean, I hated that.
Man. Okay.
I don't think you've seen the end of Coach K. That's what I'm going to say.
Sadly.
You're going to see him. Maybe he comes back for an Olympic run or something. Maybe he does, what
if he goes back to Army? Army where he
I'm not even kidding. Like, I could see him for a season committing to something like that in like 3 years. Just because he went out, like, he flopped so hard in his whole retirement tour. Like, yeah, they were a good team. They have, how many NBA players do they have, like, in their starting five? Yeah, they're a good college basketball team. But yeah, he lost in his final game at home to North Carolina, his most bitter rival through all those years, like who they held themselves against. And then you get to the Final Four and you lose to 8 seed North Carolina again. You had
50-50 against North Carolina for his career. That's another reason.
That tied it up.
I'm telling you, he's got the itch. Like, I don't know if he can come back I really think he will be gone for now from Duke. Like, he can't do that retirement thing and come back. If he did, that would be, how much hate he would get next year. Like, how people were,
because
he got so much hate, right? Yeah. If he came back after a full year of a victory parade, they literally threw a national championship parade for a whole year before they even played in the tournament. He loses his last home game they didn't win the ACC tournament, and they failed in the Final Four against their long-standing rival, the Tar Heels. So I think he'll have the itch to come back and win something to go out on top, because I'm going to hate on him a little bit. Right. No, I ain't got no hate for him right now. I mean, they already lost, so I ain't got no hate for him anymore. But I think he'll want to go out on top. That's all I'll say. He'll have an itch. He'll come back at some point and, go out a winner somehow. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. I feel like if he comes back, it almost has to be, because I think what would bother him the most is the whole 50-50 record against North Carolina. Like, you are dead even right at 100 games. Is that really how you want to? Because I had no clue what his record was, honestly, against North Carolina until someone brought that up.
Yeah, everyone was talking about
50. It. That's got to bother you. But how can you? Is there a way for Coach K to be like, actually, you know what, Duke, I want to come back. Just tell John Shire to go back down to assist him for a couple of years until I want to leave again. Because I don't think that's a possibility either. You can't just move a guy out, but maybe they would do that for Coach K. I don't know.
If anyone could do it, Coach K would do that.
That's what I'm saying.
If any coach in the history of sport would do what Coach K could possibly, to unseat the guy you've chosen and to be like, no, I'm coming back, is so egotistical. Like, that is the most, to even have all this about yourself. Quitting. Like, no, I'm quitting. I'm done. And then just because you're a little upset you couldn't quite pull through, so you're going to unseat this guy who's already, like, doing this huge task of taking over after Krzyzewski. Like, the coach that comes after Coach K, he's already, like, taking on this huge kind of weight that you have left behind of being, so successful. You have built such an elite, successful program that you are a standard of true excellence, of sustained excellence. So I'm already feeling in your shoes, and now you're like hesitant to like, you're pulling back at the power. It's like a power struggle dynamic. I think it would really end poorly if he did that. I think his best bet is to be like Roy Williams, be supportive and involved and gone. But then show up at the Final Four and cheer, like sing. I didn't watch too much of the game, honestly. Still kind of bummed. It's hard, the Hogs lost in the Elite Eight to Duke. It's hard to watch them play. The Hogs could be in that game right now. Anyway, but you see Roy Williams just like celebrating it up in the crowd.
Going nuts with Anton Jameson behind him too.
See, that's sweet. Like that's a good vision of a coach post,
Yeah, I mean, Roy Williams did it right. I mean, he didn't want all the fanfare, didn't want all the BS. He said, I'm done. I love North Carolina, but I'm old and want to go spend time with my family. Why don't I just go sit on the sidelines and have a good time, watch him win a natty? I mean, he's done it the right way. I'm so on North Carolina now. I want them to win so badly tonight. And it was tough to see Villanova lose because my two picks were both dogs. So still came out plus units since we were taking both dogs. But Kansas, man, they look ready to roll.
They both look good.
Yeah.
And it's funny y'all were talking about Roy Williams, because I was thinking that too, watching how happy he was at the end of that game. It's hilarious seeing how much hate everyone's throwing towards Coach K. And for me, I think Roy Williams just seems like, I don't want to say polar opposite, but Roy Williams just seems like such an easy to like kind of coach and kind of guy.
Very likable.
Maybe because of some of the stuff we're talking about that he did. But anyway, besides that, going into to our listeners out there, remember it's about 7:00 here in Nashville. So about an hour and a half before tip off for the Natty. But yeah, so we got UNC, Kansas, and I've kind of been pulling for UNC this whole tournament. I had them going pretty deep. I had them going to the Elite Eight, and then obviously pretty much everyone's brackets are done by now. But I mean, I've had a ton of fun watching UNC play. Baycott's an awesome player. Caleb Love got hot the other night. He's fun to watch.
That 3-ball he hit was disgusting.
When I love seeing Hubert Davis kind of being able to take the reins, because I mean, people were nervous. I think North Carolina fans at a point in the season were nervous of if Hubert Davis was going to be able to get the job done. And obviously getting them back to a natty, that's where you want to be. So I would like to see North Carolina win, and I think they can. But Kansas has just seemed like they've been just kind of taking care of business the whole time. Like they do look good. They look crisp. I think it's going to be a really good game. I couldn't tell you what happens. All I can say is I'm going to go with North Carolina just because they're kind of the team of March this year, it seems like. So I'm going to ride with them, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas comes out and wins this one either.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas looks about as sharp as any basketball team can right now. I mean, the Villanova game was never really in question. They were pretty much dominant the whole time. I'm kind of indifferent about Bill Self. He's take him or leave him. Yeah, actually, I'm Seth. Now that you say that, I'm kind of I'll say a little bit halfway thumbs down. We'll say so. I'm not the biggest Kansas fan at all. And Hubert Davis, I think being able to play for his alma mater, he was amazing as a senior there. Averaged 21 points a game his senior year. Then ended up playing for the Knicks and bounced around the NBA for a little bit. Had a pretty good NBA career. So, I mean, the story behind everything with UNC right now is just so awesome. So I gotta take a money line again. Screw the points. I don't want +4. Money line straight up. UNC, take it.
It's a money line game. You can't take the spread in this game. It's a national championship. You pick a winner.
Yeah, you pick a winner.
Yeah. If you think UNC is gonna win, you think they're gonna win. Or can't. Yeah, it's a tough one for me. I have no real. I can't really stand Bill Self. I'll be honest. Just based on head coach alone, I'm all Tar Heel tonight. I don't know if they will win. Kansas is pretty good, but I think Kansas is likely to choke pretty bad in this one. To be honest, they played really good the other night, shot really well. I don't see them replicating that success, and North Carolina is kind of like you said, the team of March, and I think they'll overpower them tonight. I got love for Raleigh. They took down Coach K. That was pretty impressive. What the Hogs couldn't do, so maybe the Tar Heels deserve it. Got the Tar Heels by about 7 in the end.
Oh, alternate line. Tar Heels -6.5. That's got to be about plus
Oh, there you
300.
go. There you go.
Yeah, if you're really looking
boost
for
those
some
odds.
value.
Seth, what's your beef with Bill Self? I'm not crazy about him either, but you seem to have a pretty.
Well, I love the city of Memphis, right? And so the 2008 title, the only one, Bill Self gets all this credit. He's won one national championship that he pulled out of his butt, dude. Like Memphis should have won that national championship so easy. And Chalmers hit a miracle. Chalmers hit a miracle.
Well, and Memphis was missing all those free throws. That was
that's what I'm saying. Memphis gift wrapped. That was before I couldn't stand Calipari because he still hadn't been to Kentucky yet. So he was
like a cool coach back with Memphis.
D Rose, bro. D Rose in college, of course, dude. I love that Memphis team. I really wanted them to win. And then so Kansas did that to me. And then I just can't. Bill Self's kind of greasy. He seems like hold himself above other people when he's just like won one national championship at one of the most storied programs ever. Like you're in Kansas, you're truly, you're up in the upper tier, but not really because of what you've done. You've just kind of rode the coattails. You've won a bunch of Big 12s and nothing in the tournament. Like you're not that special, Bill Self. Personally, he did spur an Arkansas. Like there's always rumors of Arkansas could have hired Bill Self back in like 2002. Like right after Nolan Richardson left, like he was one of the main top options at the time. So that's kind of what back in the day, it was like, man, what if we had hired Bill Self back in the day? But who knows if he could have done, I mean, he's done a lot of good stuff at Kansas.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he's won the regular
winning the
Big
Big 12 all the time
tournament
is crazy
8 times. And then
so we're just Hog fans are salty. So that's to be honest, that's what I got against Bill Self.
No problem.
And Arkansas and Kansas are like closer in proximity. So if Arkansas did get, Arkansas's been in 2 straight Elite Eights. If we can kind of keep being really good, maybe have a decent little rivalry with Kansas going on, that'd be fun. I'd like that. Arkansas and Kansas seems like a natural, like a fun basketball game. So
it does seem like a fun basketball game. I think that'd be a good rival to have.
Y'all
be a tough one.
I'm just ready for this game to be over so we can really go to next season because it's actually looking like Arkansas is about to be, if not the number 1 team in the country, like one of the top preseason top 3 teams in the country, which is just something I haven't seen in my lifetime. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good ride.
Arkansas
will be up there too.
Vols will be up there.
They'll be up there.
I mean, the Vols,
Kentucky
even with if Kennedy Chandler decides to leave, I mean, you're going to have a lot of that production returning. So yeah, Tennessee.
And there was news coming out with 5-star point guard Sky Clark. Tennessee's pretty much taken the front runner spot here. He's in the top 25 overall for recruiting or in his recruiting class or whatever next year. So yeah, I don't think we're going to skip a beat if we end up getting Sky Clark and Zakai Ziegler. Obviously he's going to, I think he takes a big step up next season. Obviously with the extra minutes if Casey ends up leaving. So Ziegler will be able to fill that role, but also kind of talking a little bit of another team in the SEC here. Will, we were talking about this before, how LSU has completely crumbled as a basketball program. So I have a cool tweet here. Yeah.
Dude, I'm glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about that.
LSU basketball currently has 0 scholarship players left after firing Will Wade. 11 Tigers have entered the transfer portal, 2 declared for the NBA draft, and 4 top 100 high school commits this upcoming season have decommitted from LSU. So, I mean, they have literally lost everything. They're starting from ground zero.
Is this like death penalty-esque? Like if you have 0 players on a roster, like they play basketball, the season's a few months away, but they're playing pretty soon. They have 0 players on a roster. Like they're filling 12, they're filling 14 spots. Like they're not just filling 6 guys in a transfer portal.
Yeah, and they lost all the recruits too.
Yeah. They have
that's
nothing.
right. They don't even have the recruits. Like
it's
one thing you could bring in some really good recruits but it's still not enough. Like
yeah, they're gonna have to be playing walk-ons. Obviously, the transfer portal will probably help, but I mean, there's so much uncertainty right now with how this is all going to play out. So
That
LSU's in a bad spot.
This may go down as one of the craziest like roster situations and coaching turnovers in the history of like college basketball. It has to be unprecedented to have 0 players on your roster.
Well, so actually, funny you bring that up because I remember when Tennessee was playing, I think it was UT Martin this year, and apparently every single player on their team, it was their first year there. They had a new head coach.
Yeah.
That's obviously, but this, I mean, the LSU situation at the SEC level, like we're talking a whole different, it's a whole different animal. Like it's comparable because it's the same situation, but it's really not comparable because
UT Martin, you can kind of like
you can kind of recover.
It. Yeah, you can recover, and you're playing weaker opponents, and coaching matters a lot more. I mean, in the SEC, you need talent.
That's going to be a crazy team to watch next year. To just see, I think they almost have to get a coach who can bring in 6 guys from his current team or something.
They're
like some situation like that.
Brinks truck, yeah.
Will Wade, like what a horrible excuse of a coach. Like cheated, got away with it, and didn't win nothing, and left a wake of destruction. Like left a monumental like gap.
They did win that one regular season, or like
was that when
Ben
Simmons was there?
Ben Simmons, they didn't even make the tournament when he was there. Yeah.
They were like a 9 seed, but
I'm pretty sure they didn't make the tournament.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
They were like
either way, like he had Ben Simmons and didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, they did win that like with Tremont Waters and Smart. That team won the regular season, I believe, or at least tied it with Tennessee that one year. So they were pretty good that one year, but outside of that, they pretty much have not been very successful, both in SEC play and tournament play.
What coach is going to want to walk into that situation? You got 0 players on the roster. Yeah. You got sanctions upcoming from the NCAA.
Guy, Matt McMahon.
So he's already they hired him.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's a pretty good hire.
Yeah, that actually is a pretty good hire. That's interesting that he would even go there.
Yeah, so they hired him on March 21st, so just a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it'll be he's from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by the way. So that LSU to Tennessee connection for some reason keeps going with Will Wade being from Nashville, and then now moving over to Matt McMahon, who is from Oak Ridge. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, but it's going to be tough.
Uphill battle.
Yeah. Uphill battle. Had to been like, because right, I would have thought too, he could have gotten a job of that caliber probably, like, and walked into a better situation. But I bet there was hey, we're going to give you a lot of time to figure this out. So that probably was a little more attractive to him as well. He's probably not going to, like, there's no way they're 4 years for a while.
They have to give him 4 years at least to kind of rebuild.
I would say even more than that, maybe.
Gotta commit.
They gave him a 7-year deal. So
that's pretty nice. I gotta say that, like, that does make it. I know it's kind of down right now, but man, I got 7 years to build this LSU basketball program. I kind of do that my own way. You're still LSU, man.
If I was an LSU fan, I'd be like looking for results in like year 5, maybe. But like these first 3 years, you can't really be expecting much, I feel like.
Yeah. You got to see progress, but you can't expect like winning.
Right.
Because like you're not going to be a top tier program for a few years for sure. But you do. I mean, you can see the progression and kind of still have hope for that future and still support. That's when you really need to actually support a program, is when it's trying to like build back from. You have a bad look right now. Like LSU has a bad basketball reputation. You need to totally come in and build something fresh and new and different. So yeah, someone could put the right stamp on the program and really build it up the way they wanted and make it legit. But it's also a very tough uphill battle he's climbing. First few years are going to be rough. Like this next year could be ugly. You're in the SEC, like that. Every team you play is good. I mean, in any power conference, you can't just roll out of the bus with a bunch of guys and
No, and
you're
especially
gonna
with how
get run.
the SEC has really kind of the past few years invested a lot more in basketball and gotten better as a conference as a whole. Alabama's good with Nate Oates. Kentucky's good, obviously, as always. Tennessee is good with Rick Barnes. Musselman at Arkansas. Mississippi
Auburn.
State is always around. Bruce Pearl at Auburn.
Well, even teams like Vandy's starting to get kind of good again.
Vandy's
They're on the upward trend.
definitely on the upward trend. I mean, they were middle of the pack, which I think is better than what a lot of people thought they were going to finish. So, yeah, it's going to be. I'd have LSU probably finishing at the bottom of the SEC. I mean, Kermit Davis has kind of lost everything at Ole Miss. They're pretty bad, but LSU they pretty much got to finish last. Florida's not doing too hot right now either, but I mean they're always competitive at least. So,
How many new? We can probably talk about it a little more next week, but there's a bunch of new coaches going to be in the SEC this year. I don't know how many open jobs there were, but it's about 7. So about half of the conference is going to have a new head coach, which is kind of wild. So that's a crazy kind of rebuilding year for almost the conference as a
because
whole.
what did Kwanzo's gone at Mizzou, right? Yeah.
Yep,
So
Mizzou had a new
Georgia.
coach. Yeah, Georgia
Yeah.
got Mike White, so that's
Right.
kind of weird. Like he stayed in that, but still, it's still a switch. Still first year at Georgia. South Carolina's gonna have a new coach. So, I mean, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia
yeah.
had a new coach.
So I've got the list right here.
LSU, Missouri.
Matt McMahon to LSU from Murray State. Todd Golden from San Fran to Florida. Dennis Gates from Cleveland State to Missouri. Lamont Paris from Chattanooga to South Carolina. And then Chris Jans from New Mexico State to Mississippi State.
Ooh, I like that.
SEC reset here for kind of half the teams.
Yeah, and we'll see. And that's kind of how it goes. Like half of those coaches will probably have pretty good success and half probably won't, you know.
So this is something interesting talking about Calipari here. I'm seeing this. So Calipari has delivered the following: the worst season in school history, a 9-16 debacle in 2020-21, the worst NCAA tournament loss in school history to number 15 seed St. Peter's. Obviously, it's now been 7 years since Coach Cal has made a Final Four, and a decade since his only national championship at Kentucky, with probably one of the most stacked basketball teams of all time. And if you go look on Twitter, or at least a couple of weeks ago, if you looked on Kentucky basketball Twitter, they were not happy with Coach Cal.
Bye-bye. Cal's gone. It might not. If they haven't fired him yet, they're too late. He's done. He's washed. Calipari hasn't won a tournament in 10 years. Think about all the pros right now that have rolled through Kentucky, and they don't have many Final Fours either. It's not like he's really knocking on the doorstep. They're not really rolling SEC regular seasons or tournaments.
Oof. But so the sticking point to a potential Kentucky separation from Calipari. So they awarded Calipari a lifetime contract in 2019 after he flirted around with the UCLA job. Buyout number would be $46 million.
Oh,
$46 million buyout.
Calipari did it right, dude. Whoever's agent, what has he done since he signed a lifetime contract? Had the worst season in like history, and he bombed out, lost to a 15 seed.
In NCAA tournament
Worst
history
loss
for Kentucky.
in NCAA tournament history, maybe of all time. Maybe.
The Virginia
one was, but almost St. Peter's is in its first year. Like, no, that's not even, that's crazy.
So
anyway,
and even kind of talking about some other coaches here. So Ole Miss is obviously flirting with getting rid of Kermit Davis, and then even on this article, Tennessee coach Rick Barnes is 67. How much longer is he going to go? I could see Barnes retiring.
Well, he just signed an extension, right?
Yeah, but I could see him still retiring in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
I could see 2 to 3 years, but 3 years is a long time.
Yeah, no. So, but I mean, definitely, you give it 3 years. Barnes retires. You give it 3 years, and that buyout for. Well, I guess since it's a lifetime contract, is the buyout just going to be $46 million?
It's got to go. It's got to go down at a reasonable rate.
I don't know.
But that is crazy that he got that he snagged a lifetime contract making whatever he was making, and then has just kind of. You got to be just disgusted as a Kentucky fan. You got to like people. Cal is on the hot seat because Kentucky is different because, like we said with Duke, they have established themselves at a sustained level of excellence, no matter the coach. Like, no matter who's been at Kentucky, they've had elite teams.
Yeah.
Like, because they are an elite basketball program. I think the funniest thing to me was comparing him right to Tubby Smith, right?
Yeah.
One of his predecessors.
This article is literally
having, I mean, in a mirror, having almost exactly the same statistical records. But one thing to Cal, a pro and a con, is that he has had probably more NBA guys, especially elite level NBA guys.
Yeah, elite.
But that's a negative to him because it's like, yeah, you've actually had better. You've got the same record with better players. Like, you've had a more stacked group of players, and you literally have not had any more success.
Well, and like we were saying a couple of weeks ago, Tubby Smith was getting run out of town though because we compared those kind of the last 7 years of Tubby's time with the last 7 years Cal's had, and Tubby had better were in the tournaments, had more wins, something like that. But it was clearly a better resume those last 7 years than Cal has had. And like Kentucky fans couldn't wait to get him out of there.
He won the SEC in 2005, 2 years before he left in 2007, because I don't think he didn't get fired, right? Because I believe he resigned because he kind of knew his.
Was it like they asked him to leave, kind of type thing?
Yeah, the writing was on the wall, and he resigned and ended up going to Minnesota, and then he's bounced around everywhere. Was at Memphis for a little bit, Texas Tech, and now at High Point. So he's just slowly tumbled down the hill of coaching jobs. But yeah, I mean, to, I guess, wrap up basketball a little bit here, we want to talk a little NBA before we jump into some college baseball. One interesting thing that I saw, so we've pretty much locked in most of the teams here, but there is going to be a battle as the Lakers are one game out of the play-in tournament right now as an 11 seed. And LeBron is hurt, not playing. Anthony Davis is hurt. The Spurs are one game ahead right now. So the Lakers might miss the playoffs. And then Brooklyn, they've locked into the play-in tournament, but they're probably going to finish as a 10 seed. So they're not going to have any kind of home court advantage. And Ben Simmons was announced that he's done for the regular season for sure, and most likely out for the play-in games as well. So we're probably not going to see Simmons in a Nets uniform this year. And Durant, while he's been playing incredible, like out of his mind these past couple of weeks, they spoiled a 50, I believe it was 55 or 57, his career high, ended up losing that game. So Brooklyn's in trouble. The Lakers are in trouble. You know who's not in trouble is the Memphis Grizzlies at the number 2 seed, 7-game win streak without Ja Morant, beat the Bucks, beat the Suns, beat the crap out of the Suns. I mean, we're playing with, I think that Suns game, they were missing their top 4 players. I guess they were out Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, John Morant, and Adams. So, I mean, this team is about as complete and as whole as you can have it right now. And boy, am I excited to see Memphis Grizzlies basketball in this postseason.
Dude, seeing 901 turned up in the playoffs is exactly what we need. That is exciting. Just to be, I'm a casual fan of the Grizzlies. Like, I'll be honest. I do love them. Like, I love watching them play. I love going to the Forum, but I don't watch them every night. Like, I can't, it's just, they play a lot of games, but seeing just the city kind of get energized around Ja. And then even on top of that the team around him is actually so good. Yeah. Then
they're so complete.
The playoffs run through our house, at least until the conference finals. So let's go. I mean, it's prime time to make a run. The Western Conference is there to win. I mean, your top team is the Suns, who are a great team, obviously, but let's put them in a 7-game series. Like, let's run them up. No one's playing quite like the Grizz right now. It's exciting.
No, nobody is. So they're tied for first in points per game. They might have even taken it completely with these last couple of games. But so the biggest crux of the Grizzlies for the first half of the season was defense, but since the All-Star break, they're number one in overall team defense. So they are literally number one offense right now and could be considered the number one defense with how they've been playing. I mean, the Grizzlies, everybody's scared of them right now. And it takes one more win to tie the franchise record, 56 wins from that team that went to the Western Conference Finals and got swept by the Spurs in 2013. But I imagine this team is going to go 2-2 to finish the season at least, even though they're kind of hot on a 7-game win streak. You kind of seen them falter a little bit, but I see them getting 57, 58 wins, setting the franchise record, and then setting the franchise record of the first Memphis Grizzlies team to reach the NBA Finals, en route to a, let's see, 5-game series win against the Suns in the Western Conference Finals, to then a thrashing of the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals.
Let's go.
That's my prediction here, my quick prediction off the rip for these finals.
We'd have to get to Memphis for a finals.
I was going to say, boys, do you think
finals?
Well, yeah, and they have home court advantage in every series except the Western Conference Finals against the Suns, because they've locked in a better record than any East team could get right now. So
Game one,
the Grizzlies make
game
it to the
one
finals,
of the NBA Finals in Memphis. Oh, we got to make that happen. That's got to happen.
Well, we definitely, dude. We've got to make at least a playoff appearance for sure.
Yeah,
that'd be sweet.
Definitely,
that'd be sweet. It'll be a hot ticket, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah. The prices have been getting a little bit more expensive.
Good.
Yeah.
Used to go Grizzlies
$15. Yeah,
dude, you could go
money.
Cheaper than that if you really want to sit up.
If you were
top.
in the nose,
maybe a postseason. You go for a postseason
ticket.
game for like $15. Like, maybe not. Maybe when they very first started. By the end there, I mean, it was rocking. But
with that grit and grind.
But regular season, even the best days of the regular season, you could go for. Which is awesome. Which is, I mean, you should be able to go to an NBA game if you're willing to sit if you're willing to sit really high. You should be able to go cheap.
There's really not that many bad seats in the Forum, though.
No, dude. No, I have sat on the top row of the Forum before. Like, my back was against the outside railing, and I loved it. I had a great time. Like, I had an awesome time.
Yeah, those stadiums aren't big enough to really have a bad seat.
Yeah,
like basketball and hockey stadiums for the most part.
They got good screens too. Like, they got for stuff that you really can't see detail wise. Like, I got a video screen I can easily see. Plus, you can kind of see. I've always loved in basketball arenas when I'm up, pretty tall. That's why I always sit in the upper deck. Not always, but like when I go to Razorback games, I like seeing like the whole depth of the crowd, like excited. Like, you go to a Memphis game and people do get super excited and just jumping around at Grizzlies games. So seeing the whole excitement of the crowd, it's nice.
They're rallying, and it's been
gonna be a fun postseason. Like
anybody that puts on a Grizzlies uniform right now, as long as they have Memphis on the front of their jersey, they're playing well. It's insane. But yeah, I'm just excited overall, and I'm excited to see how the Eastern Conference kind of finishes up here, because the Heat are in the first spot right now, but the Celtics are only half a game behind them. The Bucks are only a game behind them. It's going to be it's probably the tightest finish here to the Eastern Conference that we've ever seen. So it's going to be all these games matter a lot for those teams. So we're going to have some good basketball to close out the season here.
Who should I don't really care much about the Eastern Conference. Like, what should be my team to kind of hope makes it to the finals? Who do the Grizzlies have the best chance of beating?
Well, I mean, I would say like maybe the Cavs or somebody like that. I'm rooting for the Cavs. They've kind of tumbled a little bit here. I think they're at the 7 spot. But just with Darius Garland, Nashville born and
shout
bred,
out 615,
first year All-Star. So I'm on the Cavs train right now. And then Mobley, they might have the best rookie in basketball right now. So I'm going Cavs, but they get a lot of ground to make up as they've tumbled kind of the second half of the season after starting off pretty hot, getting all the way up to the either 3rd or 4th seed. I can't remember. So Cavs are my team in the East, but they've got a long ways to go for sure.
I like the Hawks. I just shout out Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't even know. The Hawks, I think, are either one game in or one game out of the plan, I want to say. I can't remember exactly, but Trae Young, he's a freak for sure, but not too much defense and then not too much help outside of him. So
Well, that's what you kind of have the state of Tennessee a little split. I feel like a lot of East Tennesseans are fans of the Hawks.
oh yeah, definitely. But the Hawks are in the A seed right now, so they're in the play-in.
We're well in.
Yeah,
All
so
you
they're
gotta
in
do
the
is be
play-in.
in.
They're gonna get but tough draw with the Nets.
Nets are not good. That's why they're the 9th
How are the
seed.
Nets not good?
Well, Kyrie hasn't been able to play a ton of games this season, obviously because of the vaccination.
That changed
thing.
though, right? Or it's about to change.
It's about
Yeah,
to, yeah.
But
And
Kyrie
then
is
Durant has been hurt throughout the season. Obviously, the Harden trouble and chemistry, everything at the beginning of the season with that trade has led to some fallout and just kind of injuries across the board, and bad team chemistry has led to some crappy play. But well, I might. So I'm looking at it here. Yeah. So the Heat are 2 games ahead of the Celtics. Bucks are 2.5 games back, and then 76ers are 2.5 games back. So they're still the top 4 teams here. And then the Bulls have really tumbled from being in the number 1 spot down to number 5, with Toronto running out the just regular playoffs at 6. It's going to be, yeah, all these teams are close because so the 6th seed is only 5.5 games back from the number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference Finals compared to the Western Conference, or not Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern Conference. Jazz 16 games back at the 6th spot. So it's really anybody's ball game right now in the Eastern Conference, it seems like.
It seems like Harden's working over there in Philly too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's he was playing well, had a bad couple of games, but then bounced back very well. So, yeah, Philly and I mean Embiid is playing out of his mind. It's looking like Jokic might end up securing the MVP, but it's either Embiid or Jokic at this point.
Yeah, I saw it was down to them too. The big men for the MVP.
So both yeah, so Philly's number 4 and then Denver is number 6. So kind of some softer records for an MVP, but I mean, their stats have been unreal. So, but you guys want to talk a little college baseball here before we get into football? We obviously got a little bit of football talk to talk about, but college baseball, how about those Vols, baby, with a sweep of formerly number 9, now number 16 Vanderbilt.
Embarrassment.
And let's kind of talk about the elephant in the room here with the Mike Honcho, Jordan Beck. I don't even know what to call it. The illegal bat after he pimps one.
Batgate.
Yeah, Batgate. So the sticker fell off in the batting cage. But what was really interesting is how the Vandy fans have been talking all this crap, and there was one illegal bat found in this series, and that was a Vanderbilt baseball bat.
Yeah.
That was a Vanderbilt baseball bat that was not allowed to be used this series. They took Jordan Beck's bat. It was approved by the NCAA. The sticker literally just fell off.
Well, they gave it back. Didn't they have to hold on to it or something?
Yeah, they held on to it and then gave it back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and they did no further testing because they basically proved that it had been tested and approved. It literally just the sticker fell off.
Well, and the best part about this Tennessee baseball team, some saying the greatest team of all time, maybe, we'll see. But the best part about this Tennessee team that Tony Vitello has brought and that Tennessee Vol fans are loving is the straight up, it's not confidence, it is straight up cockiness that this Tennessee team has. After the whole bat incident happened, obviously Tony V's on the headset making jokes, calling Jordan Beck Mike Honcho, like he's 35 years old, shouldn't even be here. And then Luke Lipsius goes up not too long later, bangs a home run, comes in, touches home, and the players have a bat for him to hold. And for the celebration, he decides to take a look at the bat, give it the thumbs up, and make sure it's legal. I mean, this team, they throw the fur coat on, they got the daddy hat. It's everything that Vol fans have dreamed of, honestly. A true winner, just talent all over the place, cockiness, and they back it up. I mean, it's awesome to watch. And
Yeah.
they've done it we were saying earlier, 2 weeks in a row against Ole Miss and Vandy. You just made it through the toughest part of your schedule and swept both of those teams.
Swept in their own stadiums. And there was a cool interview that I saw from Drew Gilbert after game 1. They were asking him, or I think it was after game 2, actually. So it got a little bit quieter than Friday. What are your thoughts behind that? And he's like, yeah, well, we definitely hear that stuff on Friday, but they got a lot quieter. It kind of tends to go that way when you're stomping on somebody's throat. So, I mean, they are fully embracing this villain cockiness attitude of the SEC, and I'm all here for it. I mean, ERA team-wise at 180, I mean, that is insane. UCLA at 2.5 at number 2. Batting average is at number 4 in the country right now, with Drew Bean, local Nashville kid, 0.88 ERA closer, who is just, I mean, playing out of his mind right now. And really, this pitching staff hasn't even been able to reach full potential yet, as we've had some injuries, and a couple of guys who could be considered aces have not even really gotten a full chance to pitch yet. So I think there's still a lot of stuff on Twitter that I was seeing. Oh, well, last year with Rocker and what was that other Vanderbilt pit? Leiter,
I think.
Yeah.
Jack Leiter.
But I mean, they hadn't even given up a hit or whatever through 15 games or something like that. So people were talking, oh, well, Vandy did this last year and the Vols they're peaking too early. I mean, we still are missing a couple of key pieces and getting guys back from injury and playing this well.
Well, wasn't it Ben Joyce didn't even pitch? And was it Dolander didn't pitch?
Yeah.
Or did he pitch?
We
had 2 like ace type pitchers who didn't even play against Vandy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's complete BS if you're saying this team. Well, I don't know if it's complete BS. It's going to be tough to keep up and not lose a single game in the SEC.
Right, yeah.
But I think there's still a lot left for this team to do. And like you said, Will, really on both sides, pitching, fielding, hitting, all 3 facets of the game, the Vols are either number 1 or top 5 in the country. You could say. So I couldn't be happier right now with the job Vitello has done, and how fired up our coaching staff gets too. I mean, you saw Vitello screaming at the umps, "Give me the effing bat," and all this stuff, freaking out when they were checking the bat. So many people love this team. So many people love Vitello. He's just a Vol at heart too. You see him on the sidelines of the basketball games, and just everybody in Tennessee loves Vitello right now. Tony V, baby, you gotta love him.
Tony V, future Razorback head coach.
I don't know, man. Him and DVH don't seem to like each other a whole lot anymore.
No, I think that time has passed because he's had too much success already at Tennessee. I think he'd probably rather build his program.
Yeah,
not like we were talking about. Not putting Dave Van Horn on Krzyzewski level, but like he's been a true standard of our program for, by the time he retires, 25 plus 30 years.
Former Husker coach.
Yeah, there we go. the ties, man, the signs. But it's like by that time, I feel like Vitello will have built. I mean, he's already he's established in year whatever. He has a team that is truly trending as one of the best teams we've seen in a long time, and that obviously has already established itself as a national power. Like, you went to Omaha last year, you've already kind of been to that level. So now you just got to go win it. Now they do got to go win it to join the kind of echelons of that's kind of how it works. But they got a good chance at it. They hammer the ball and they have a lot of great pitching.
So I didn't realize Dave Van Horn made it to back-to-back College World Series at Nebraska in 01 and 02.
Yeah, we were good. We had Jabba Chamberlain, Alex Gordon. I mean, we were getting players.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of it.
So
Nebraska's actually always been like pretty solid at baseball, especially now in the Big Ten. Like, the Big Ten obviously isn't known for being great at baseball. Nebraska's usually up there kind of towards the top always. And they had a chance last year. They actually gave Arkansas a pretty good run for a little bit there.
Yeah.
When they played them in the regional.
You got Van Horn's stats up there?
Yeah, I got him pulled up here, his records. So he College World Series in 04, College World Series in 09, College World Series in 2012, World Series in 2015, College World Series runner-up in 18, World Series in 2019, and then last year lost in the Super Regional.
That's unreal.
But
That's
yeah,
unreal. That it's essentially like every player that has come to play for Van Horn since he started has gone to a College World Series.
Yeah,
which
if they were there,
so impressive.
Yeah.
And how many? I mean, produced a ton of MLB guys, and it's been a fun. I mean, Arkansas, it's crazy. Arkansas baseball has had 3 coaches like in its existence. Like it, and the program's been around. This is its 100th season. There were a few that I think they've actually had like 5, but for the last like 79 something years, they've had 3 coaches just sustained, and all of them have been to Omaha. Like all of them have had success here. So it's just we talk a lot about football and basketball programs perspective, because they do have they have a bigger feel of like a true program, more people involved, but the Arkansas baseball program is just really top notch. They do a really good job. They're right there behind the Vols this year. Like the Vols they deserve all the hype. They deserve all Arkansas is playing well, but not like blowing anything out of the water. And the Vols are doing kind of that. They're just a freight train.
Yeah, 9-0 in the SEC.
But we're right there, like they are number 2. They'll have to, hopefully they'll have to go through.
It's a long season too. Yeah.
And I mean, Omaha's when it matters, you got to get there. So you got to be playing well in the tournament, but man, Omaha's where it matters. And that's where Dave Van Horn doesn't have it. Look at how many times he's been there and he hasn't won it. That proves, I mean, just about how hard it is to win like baseball. I don't know. Omaha's a hard tournament to win, because you need to play really good baseball against a lot of really good baseball teams.
And if your pitching staff just gets hot, I mean, in baseball, pretty much they can dictate a game completely. So really, whoever bats are hot, and if your pitchers are hitting their corners and hitting their spots, I mean, anybody can really do it in the World Series once you get there.
Yep. Or Arkansas lost at home in a super regional last year. Won the first game like 21-2.
Yeah, I remember that.
And you're thinking Hogs are like breezing right to Omaha again. We're the number 1 undisputed team in the nation all year. When the SEC don't lose a single SEC series, like not a single one, home or away. Win the SEC tournament, like totally unanimous. Up 21-2. Win the first game of your super regional. And then North Carolina State kind of catches some little magic and wins 2 straight, and
that was
and it just snatches it right from you. And then obviously, NC State looked great in Omaha, and then had to play with like 8 dudes on their roster or something crazy. And then they almost did it too. I mean, honestly, I think NC State might have won the World Series if they didn't have to lose all those players. I mean, they were playing so well. And then just kind of got screwed by COVID.
So imagine, let's explain, because y'all talking about this makes me think of this, because I don't think I could even tell you exactly how it works. But so like, say regular season ends, what is the exact road like after that? Once you start getting into tournaments, like what do you have to do to get into Omaha, basically?
So there's a field of 64, just like just like basketball. Well, I mean, I know basketball's 68, but you know what I mean. There's 64 slots. So you do the postseason tournaments, and just like basketball, it's a auto bid. So if Arkansas won the tournament, they're an automatic bid. So that's just the same. And then it's at large teams. So there's 16 host sites.
Right.
So there's the top 8 national seeds. So there will be 8 super regional sites, 8 winners so there's 8 teams that make it to the finals, 8 teams in the finals. And then so you start out as your host sites, you get 16 of those. They each got 4 teams. So you got to win your site. So it's a tournament of 4 at that point. You win your regional. And if you win your regional out of 4, you go to a super regional, and the super regional is best 2 out of 3. So it's a series versus 1 team. And then whoever wins a super. So that's why it's so important to be a top 8 national seed, because these are all at home sites. That's what makes
Right.
college
Yeah,
baseball
that's what
so
it's
fun.
so fun.
Is
all
that
these
like the
playoff
super
games are-
regionals will be at Arkansas if we're a top 8 seed. Like
Yeah.
if we win our regional, we know that we're hosting a super regional. So it's a 2 out of 3 series in our ballpark to go to Omaha. So winner of the super, that's when like making Omaha is kind of basketball equivalent of kind of a Final Four, I would say. I know it's different. Like
No,
they have
I'd
the
agree.
Elite Eight,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like you've won your super regional. And at that point, the tournament really resets because essentially you're on a side of a bracket. So when Arkansas wins this or Tennessee wins the 2 out of 3 super regional, they join another 4-team pod essentially.
Mhm. It's 4 and 4 on each side.
Yeah, it's 4
right?
and 4. And so then you got to re-win that double elimination tournament. And then you got to win another series. So then you go to the championship series, and then it's a best 2 out of 3 again. That's what the baseball format is really fun. It kind of mirrors each other. It's like a 4-team pod and then a 2 out of 3 series, and then a 4-team pod double elimination to a 2-team series. So you got to kind of win different ways of a tournament.
Yeah.
Is the regional a series as well, or is it just one game?
No, it's a 4-team double elimination
4-team
tournament.
like tournament.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so right now I was, let me see, I might not be able to pull this up in time, but I was looking to see kind of the early predictions of who's going to host all these regionals here. Tennessee being at number 1 would be so awesome. Hosting that in Knoxville would be sweet. I'm not going to spend the time here. I lost the tweet, but yeah, it's I'm with Seth on that. The way college baseball has kind of made their postseason is, I think, probably the coolest out of football, basketball, baseball, in college sports. It's just having that home stadium feel to it is awesome, and being able to host a whole regional and everybody come play is pretty cool.
I wish football would adopt a little bit of that. I've always wanted a first round to be on campus. If you got to expand it to make that happen, do it. But that would be so fun to have a round of the NCAA football tournament on campus, a playoff game. I think that would be so exciting.
If they were to expand it, yeah, I think that's what they should do. Because that would be, that's good for everyone. It's good for the schools.
Yeah. Still an advantage. Being a home team.
Yeah, that too.
Since you expand it, yeah, you're putting in more teams, but it's still an advantage to be at home.
Agreed. Well, you guys want to talk a little bit of football here before we're going to close out a new segment of some golf coming here at the end, but we've got a little football to talk here. AJ Brown leaving the Titans?
No.
It ain't happening. Shut it down.
And I said this to y'all before we started. I haven't even seen like that much of it, but the fact that I've seen anything at all about this on Twitter, like from Titans fans, just kind of like wondering if there's any hint of truth to this. I'm like, guys, stop. This is not. There's no reason to even be talking about this. And Seth, say what you were saying kind of before we started the podcast about just like what teams are basically doing.
Yeah. When you are a great player, an elite player, you are wanted. People do want you on their team. It's like, it makes a ton of sense that teams that need a wide receiver will be like, yeah, we'd like AJ Brown. Yeah, but we're sitting here as the Titans and we want him too. Like he's already that elite receiver in our on our team. He is our all-pro receiver. So no, we'll just keep him. Like he wants to be here. He's not bringing on these kind of it's not AJ wants out. It's nothing like that. Like there would be more credence to that if it was like, oh, AJ Brown wants out of Tennessee. I'd be like, oh, that's not good. But this is totally just other teams piping in noise, just oh, the Jets would love AJ Brown. The Jets would love him. He's going to be expensive. That's their only argument, is that he's going to be expensive. But we've proven that we will pay our guys top money that are on the highest level. Yeah. If they're already here and he's a positive influence on the team and the culture and it's just been a huge part of this team's elevation, is his emergence as a AAA receiver. Like he's an elite receiver that we can trust in so many ways. Got it. He'll be on the squad. I just shut him down.
Yeah. Well, it's people freaking out because we haven't extended his contract quite yet. But if you look at the kind of Titans history, we don't extend contracts early very often. And you look at Byard and Lawan getting their contracts not getting extended until later in the spring. And kind of once training camp and all that stuff starts going into the summer as well. So, I mean, I don't think it means anything that we haven't extended AJ Brown yet. I think that's the only thing some of these stupid teams or teams fans are grasping at, because it's looking like we're probably going to have to pay average per year around 25 million to keep AJ Brown. So he's going to be expensive, but we'll figure it out. And I mean, Byard restructures his deal every year to get guys on the team. I mean, we got dogs on this team that want to be in Tennessee. We built the culture with Vrabel. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves Amy Adams Strunk and John Robinson, the organization. So,
and you're about to win a Super Bowl. Like you're not trading AJ Brown on the cusp of a Super Bowl.
Well, and that's what really I think I laughed out loud when I was reading it on Twitter. They're literally because it actually isn't just opposing teams fans. Like I saw some Titans fans being like, well, this is going to be really expensive. I wonder how many draft picks we could get for AJ Brown.
Unless we could get like 5 or 4 first rounders. Like
no.
I definitely
it's like unless I could get the next 7 first rounders.
Yeah.
If you gave me 7 straight first rounders, I might consider it.
I mean, you might have to do it.
But no one would ever. That would be the biggest trade in the history of sports. And that would be so stupid.
There's some guys on certain teams that are just untouchable. And I'm not saying AJ Brown's at Derrick Henry's level, but it's not far off. I mean, there are guys you just don't trade on your team, especially when it's guys you drafted and are kind of the glue guys on your team. It's one thing if OBJ is jumping around from team to team, but when you have guys like Byard or someone, like you're not getting rid of guys that have been around this whole time and are leaders on your team. And I don't know if AJ is necessarily like a leader, but he is one of the guys.
He's definitely a leader on the offense for sure.
He's just in that he's a Titan. I mean, that's all you can really say about it. Like there are a few guys that just probably aren't leaving until they get too old or something,
Yeah. So what do you guys think about draft wise, first round pick? What are the Titans doing? Because I mean, I feel like we could go offensive line, we could go receiver, and some people are even talking tight end. But I think with bringing in Austin Hooper, I don't know if you'd want to. I think we're pretty good with Swaim and Hooper right now. But losing Saffold, obviously, we're going to have to replace him. We'll see how Radens plays this next year. And then having Bobby Trees coming at receiver helps, but obviously he's coming off an ACL injury. We don't know if he might miss the first six games of the season. You can't have NWI being your number 2 receiver. So I think we got to go receiver again at round 1 here. Go after I don't know if Olave will fall that far, but
I've seen
Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I've seen Jahan Dotson a lot. From some of the mock drafts, and I'd be okay with that. I mean, he's really good as well, kind of a speedy guy. I don't know though. I think there's a chance those guys are still around though. I mean, there's just so many receivers. You don't know.
Yeah,
it's all going to be kind of personal preference for those teams that pick receivers before us. I mean, I truly don't know who's going to fall. So, but I would like to see a receiver. I think we all kind of would.
Yeah, receiver round 1, and then I think you go O-line again in round 2. We've kind of whiffed.
Do we have a second round pick?
Or do we? Oh wait, no. We only have a 3rd round pick, right?
Yeah, I think we skipped the 2nd.
Yeah, and we might have now. Or did we get? What did we get?
We might have 2/3.
Yeah, I'm thinking either 2/3 or 2/4 because of cutting Julio. There was some kind of comp.
Sorry, Julio.
Yeah, and then Saffold being cut. I want to say it was either Julio or Saffold got us a comp pick. I can't remember. So,
what happened with Woods? Did we? Well, we didn't trade. We just got him, or did we trade something for him? Did we just sign Woods?
I think we just signed him. Yeah, I think we just signed him. I might be mistaken there, but
I feel like we may have actually. I don't know. Yeah, check that real quick. See what the deal
it was a trade. You're right.
Yeah.
So
did we pick up any picks too? Because they basically made that trade to cut cap.
yeah.
So we kind of got a deal on
So 6th-round pick.
Okay. It's nothing crazy.
So yeah, I think that's perfect.
They need to find a few gyms this class that really just somehow spark fire and are instant contributors. Like, how awesome would it be if we got an instant contributor in the 3rd round? Like, it can happen. We've done it before.
Yeah,
for sure.
So hopefully they can.
Yeah, really, the late round draft picks have played better for the Titans recently than our top draft picks outside of the Simmons and Brown. But
I want a wide receiver in round 1 because I think the depth of talent is too big that there will be a really great receiver there available at 26. I've said that for a while and I still hold there. Like you guys kind of said there, we don't really know who's going to fall, but on draft night, like there's going to be one of those top receivers that's available at your pick. That's like, we got to draft. Like, this guy is too good. He's too game changing. Like, there are game changers that will be found in this draft. Like, with those receivers, they all have the potential to kind of open it up. So I think someone's going to be there. I'm rooting for my guy Treylon Burks to make it, to be quite honest. If the Titans picked up Treylon, like, awesome. He didn't have the best combine numbers, but I promise, like, he is a game-changing elite wide receiver that would be awesome to pair alongside. He's similar kind of make and mold to AJ, similar kind of size, big but still fat, like still kind of, deep threats, but also kind of slot middle of the field, strong receivers. So I don't know. I think someone will be there pretty good and then fill in some other stuff. Always good to get O-line depth. That's where I think I just feel like there's value there in the 3rd round. Get a pretty good O-lineman who can fit. There's just a lot of, we're probably going interior lineman even, I would bet. I don't know. They could go tackle, but tackle seems see a higher level to, like, tackles more where if you're going 1st round, you might go for a tackle. But we whiffed. What we really did, the one Titans whiffed is drafting is Isaiah Wilson. To use a draft pick, a 1st round draft pick on an offensive lineman and whiff that bad is
Torrey
atrocious.
Doesn't even play he only played 4 special team snaps and looked terrible in all 4. Got put right on his butt.
That was a swing and a miss and a pretty bad one. But a lot of teams kind of go through. They might have more productive busts than that, but like they're still busts. At least the Titans got to cut it easy and quick.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? This is not working out. It's over. Like, this decision was awful, but got to cut ties with it.
And it wasn't
really
the
baggage.
COVID year when you couldn't meet with players face to face. So that's what I kind of chalk it up to, not being able to get a great feel for his work ethic and kind of mentality at the time. I mean, at Zoom, going over Zoom, it's tough to really read a guy. And that plays a lot into how these players are drafted, how well they fit with the team, and how, if you can tell, they're just a hard worker. And because this team is full of hard workers and guys who are ready to come out and play and work their tails off and go get a Super Bowl. So yeah, Isaiah Wilson did not fit that mold. Definitely a swing and a miss, but hey, if we draft an interior lineman in the 3rd round, kind of fill that Saffold spot, I guess we give Radens a shot at the right tackle. I say you give him a shot at right tackle. We have Nate Davis and then Ben Jones and then Lawan locked up at left tackle. So that left guard spot is going to be interesting to see how we fill it. So Quez is gone, right? Quez is gone. Lamb is gone. We really don't have a lot of depth.
What is our current roster there? I probably should, before I go clamoring for a wide receiver, it wouldn't be bad to kind of take a look.
Well, and so I'm wondering too, we keep talking about how deep this receiver class is. We got AJ Brown in the 2nd round. We see guys like Elijah Molden. I think he also went in the 2nd round last year. Is it possible that you could find a really good receiver there in the 3rd round?
Because looking at this depth chart, Taylor Lewan at left tackle, Aaron Brewer at left guard, Ben Jones at center, Nate Davis at right guard, and Dylan Radens at right tackle right now. So we need an offensive lineman for sure. Aaron Brewer does not need to be starting on this team.
I could see J-Rob making some moves.
Yeah, they're still.
Let's just say I could see us maybe going back down into the second round or something to get. Maybe we go wide receiver first, and then maybe go kind of trade down and get a still top tier off O lineman.
Trade
or do it backwards, like you said. Kind of maybe there's wide receivers that are maybe at 26. He sees that there's still 5 guys on the board that he would like, at wide receiver. And he's like, you know what? We're going O tackle here. We're going to trade down and snag one of these guys in 10 picks later.
Yeah.
He works the draft pretty good. It really is a lot about positioning in the draft. Like, you could move up 2 spots, but you're above 2 teams who are interested, in the same type player. And so now where you only moved 2 spots, you moved, a couple guys up your whole big board. So it'll be interesting. They tend to work it pretty good. It's a good time to be a Titan. There's not like a ton of glaring holes to like there are definite needs and definite ways to improve, but there's not like a glaring hole. We're not in desperate need of a franchise quarterback, which is always good. That really handicaps you in the draft. They could look quarterback. I mean, they really could. Like, what if they drafted a quarterback first round? I don't see that happening at all. But, I read Jim White's put out a list of mock drafts. So all it was like 25 guys had a mock draft. And there were several of them with quarterbacks in them.
Yeah. But there was also, I was seeing some mock drafts where not a single quarterback was taken in the first round. So I feel like there's still
that'd be a huge knock on these quarterbacks. Like none of
y'all
went in the first round.
If you want to draft a quarterback, go like the Kirk Cousins route and just kind of try to find one. Like see if you can just find a little diamond in the rough there.
You could probably get like a guy like Ritter in like the 3rd round and draft him. Like draft
for
him.
Sure.
3rd round.
Some people have Ritter going 1st round, and then some people have him tumbling all the way to 3rd and 4th. So it's like that's what I'm saying. Such a
it'll be
right now
this draft is going to be kind of wild. I feel like in terms of there's just no fluidity. There's ultimate fluidity. Like you have no idea really kind of where things are going to fall. So I think they'll play it out on game time or when draft comes up, and that's J-Rob's game time, like the players play out the fall, but J-Rob's like, this is his on season. Like this is his window of opportunity to really make strides to solidify the team. And they've done a really good job. They have built a strong foundation through the draft. They've been consistently good. For a franchise like Tennessee, like we're not like Los Angeles Rams who can just pawn our way to a championship. Like we can't just go out and get the 10 biggest name free agents or trades and just have fictional cap space. And like, that doesn't work in Tennessee. So they've done a really good job building through the draft. I'm sure they will again, and it will be an exciting season. I think drafting a receiver gets the fans a little more excited because you're like, oh, nice. Like drafting a guard is just not the most exciting decision in round 1, but maybe it is the best for the team. So that's thankfully not my decision to make yet. Maybe one day, but not yet.
Yeah, and kind of going real quick outside of the Titans here, we did have a couple other things happen in the NFL. So Devontae Parker being sent to New England. I'm going to trade, obviously, with the Dolphins acquiring Tyreek Hill in that blockbuster, getting paid $30 million a year. That's going to be interesting how that plays out. But we also had a pre-draft day draft pick trade today between the Eagles and Saints. So a lot of picks being exchanged here. I'm pulling up the exact numbers. So the Saints are going to get number 16, number 19, and number 194 in the draft this year. Eagles will get number 18, number 101, and number 237, along with a 2023 first and a 2024 second. Ooh. So Saints are kind of going all in for those 2 first-round picks, and obviously giving up that 18. But Saints are saying we need talent now in the first round. Let's go get those 2 first-rounders. And then Eagles, I guess, are playing the long game a little bit with obviously the extra first-rounder next year and the second-rounder coming in 2024. With the Eagles not needing a quarterback, I feel like that's kind of why this trade may have been made. But then again, like we were just talking about, we don't even know if a quarterback's going to be drafted in the first round.
Well, haven't some talked about the Eagles still possibly taking a quarterback?
Yeah, there was some talk about that, but at least me personally, I like Jalen Hurts a lot, and I
I do
think
too. Yeah.
you put some good pieces in front of him, get a good defense going, and I think he can be successful. But maybe the Eagles see something differently. You never know. But I always love. I wish that they could have waited until draft day to happen. I love draft day, draft pick trades
Draft
out of
day
the blue.
drama.
Yeah, draft day drama. It's awesome when these GMs' backs are against the wall and they get a little antsy and they're like, well, "Crap, I need to pick this round. Let's do it, and send something." And craziness happens. So I think that's still going to be fun to watch. But bringing it back to the Titans here before we get into the Masters, I did want to talk about Caleb Farley. So he's listed as a starting corner ahead of Elijah Molden, ahead of Chris Jackson and Buster Screen. Him and Fulton are going to be the 1 and 2. What do we think about that? I mean, is he going to be ready to go? I'm nervous.
I mean, I hope so.
I think he's going to be ready to go injury wise, but development wise, I don't know.
Well, that's what, yeah. And I hope so, just because, I mean, that was your first round pick last year. You're expecting a lot out of him. And while, I mean, those guys you mentioned, I really like Molden. He's obviously probably doesn't have quite the athletic ability Farley has, but he's a playmaker and he's real gritty kind of player, and he'll probably still play a lot. But
yeah,
I mean, those other guys you mentioned are kind of NFL journeymen. That's like, yeah, you don't necessarily want them starting, although they did at times last year. So
yeah, and played well. Chris Jackson played really well last year, but
yeah,
looking into the future, I think you got to give Farley his chance and playing time to get there, because it takes a lot for a cornerback to develop and get ready for the NFL game speed.
I think Molden's a consistent role player. I don't know if he's quite a consistent starter. Maybe a couple years down the road.
Molden's probably not your, 1B corner starting on the outside. Like he's a good player, great contributor, will be a big factor in the defense, but he's not quite your true lockdown, like outside corner kind of, on your star receiver type of guy, kind of like Caleb Farley. Hopefully can be. Now he needs to prove. I mean, he's got a lot to prove. So that'll be fun to watch, but I think he's very capable if he can stay healthy and really be productive on the defense. It's a good time to be a cornerback in the Titans defense because our D line is just nasty.
Probably the best
D line is a problem. So it's a pretty good time to be, probably have some guys with high interception totals maybe this year. And I could see Byard having a pretty good year of interceptions or something like that.
Yeah.
He's kind of due for a high interception rate again. I feel like he played a lot better last year than I was almost kind of getting out on Kevin Byard. I just thought he was a step slow
he played
almost
incredible
2
last
years
year,
ago.
first team
But he
All-Pro.
did. No, he did. He stepped it, he proved me wrong and totally, and stepped it back up to a really high level. So defense is going to be fun to watch. A lot more offseason stuff left before we really get into the business.
I'm excited about our linebackers because looking at the depth chart here, Harold Landry on the outside with Dupree on the other side. And then we have David Long and Zach Cunningham still in the middle with Ola Adedinye, Monty Rice, Rashad Weaver all coming off the bench. I mean, that's a lot of
deep.
I mean, we're deep from the pass rush standpoint and really from the Mike standpoint too in the middle here. So, man, I'm excited to see how this defense even gets another year under their belt together. There's a lot of potential, and I think we've gone so heavy on the pass rush and front seven right now that I mean, whoever's going to be out there in the secondary it's going to be a lot easier on them for sure.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting offseason for sure. And kind of seeing how, I mean, I'll be excited for the preseason to see kind of how all these guys, especially these younger guys, pan out. But yeah, let's move into we obviously have the Masters coming up this week.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sporting events of the year. Like it's probably up there ahead of some of the kind of traditional sporting events. But yeah, I mean, we're kind of we're kind of assuming that it looks like Tiger's going to play. I know he played in the practice round.
Yeah, his practice round. So Fred Couples is very optimistic Tiger's going to play after seeing his practice round. So
he said he looks phenomenal in quotes.
Wow. Tiger playing is actually about as close to a miracle as they were thinking about amputating his legs. And this was not that long ago. Not very long ago.
14 months ago.
14 months they thought about. Maybe they weren't that close, but they thought about amputating his legs. And now he's on the cusp of starting in the Masters. It's almost unbelievable, but only Tiger Woods, man.
If he wins,
only Tiger Woods. You almost feel like if he starts it, he's a threat to win it.
Well,
he's at
so
plus
that's what
8,000
I'm
right now.
I'm looking at. But
he's had the most bets. I read that today too. The most people have bet on Tiger Woods because he is a fun value. Just like throw some money on Tiger. But
and that's the thing. He's at plus 7,000 right now, which isn't. That's not like assuming he's going to win, but the fact that the dude is like half metal and can barely walk, and he's that it's still only plus 7,000. Like, you have guys on here that are plus 15, plus 22,000. Tiger, we don't even know if he can walk all 72 holes, and he's still plus 7,000. And you best believe I'm going to throw $10 on him
if he makes the cut. If he even makes the cut, I would be just amazed. He hasn't played golf. I mean, he's obviously played enough golf to feel comfortable going to play the Masters, but he hasn't played a tournament round.
Well, he's got a different body.
It's amazing. I love Tiger, man. Every time you want to count Tiger out, even me, one of the staunchest Tiger supporters, biggest Tiger lovers since I was a kid. He is golf to me. Even I've been nah, he's done. There's no way he's I have seen the last of Tiger Woods. I literally thought that in my head. He proves me wrong again.
So many people were saying that around, I guess it was around 2015 or so, for those few years.
It's twice. There's been multiple points in his career. It's he's not coming back from this. And him winning the last Masters was one of those moments. No one ever thought he could do that. And then to win the Masters, now you thought couldn't even walk again, maybe. And now he's playing in the Masters 14 months after. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes. But a few years ago, I had finally gotten to the point where I was like, all right, it's been a long time. I don't know if it's going to happen. And then it was actually I think it was the PGA Championship before the Masters when he really made a run for it and got close. And everyone was like, oh, shoot, Tiger actually can still play.
Yeah.
He's got a chance at this. And then he comes in, wins the Masters.
2019,
15 years after, or 11. I don't even know when his last major. I think his last major may have been in 08 or something
like that. I think 11 years is right.
Yeah, but one thing I did want to touch on besides Tiger, some of these odds, just in case you're looking for some value picks. Now, the favorites are pretty much who you would expect. John Rahm's up there as the main favorite at plus 800. Yeah, you got Spieth, DJ, Koepka, JT, DeChambeau, Rory, Morikawa, all kind of around there in that plus 12 or 1,400 to 800 range. But then I do like to point out a couple guys that I always bet on in majors just for the value and just because I'm kind of big fans of them. I always sprinkle a little on Tommy Fleetwood.
I was about to say Tommy Fleetwood.
He's at plus 6,100.
The signs, man.
I'm seeing plus 8,000 on another.
Whoa, on what?
This is actionnetwork.com from and this was updated today at 1
Okay,
p.m.
well, I'll check all my other sites then.
Yeah,
as well.
So I would see if you can get him at plus 8,000.
Yeah, I will. And then also Finau is a guy I always he's come real close a couple times. He's I think it was actually the year Tiger won the Masters. He was up there in the top 5 for a long time, and he's Trusho. Tell me what Finau's at on your site because I've got him at plus 4,000 here.
Plus 6,600.
All right, these odds suck. Then I'm going on a different site.
Yeah, I would because this is odds via PointsBet 2022 Masters odds updated April 4th. Yeah, so today at 1 p.m. So maybe the odds could have changed, but I doubt they would have changed that much in a 6-hour period.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously, I love betting on golf because, you can just throw a little money on 6 or 7 guys and the payout can just be great.
Yeah. If you hit one, you throw $20 on 5 guys, you bet $100 on the Masters and you're probably going to be out $100.
When you really have a great chance, even if you're betting on some of those favorites, I mean, you're still going to come out on top if they win, but
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
obviously
this
a lot of
has
people.
Rom at plus 1100. So
Yeah, there you go. And then I always like to throw a little maybe on the younger guys. Look at a guy like Zalatoris or Matt Wolf. Just sprinkle a little on there because those are going to be really good value picks, and you never know. And younger guys are kind of easy to go with because you just don't know how hot they could get, and they start hitting the ball well, and they just hit a groove, and it's
tough
curtains.
to walk 72 holes when you're a little bit older. And I mean, it just wears you down. So some of those young guys can kind of withstand the heat there and keep rolling. So I like your thought behind that, Will.
Yeah. I mean, I just love the Masters. It's fun. I mean, it almost has a little bit of kind of first round March Madness feel to me because, it's on all day. You can flip it on during work, be able to kind of keep up with it the whole day, watch the featured groups. They've done a really good job of that too, I think, with the whole Masters app and being able to watch coverage before it comes on CBS or whatever it usually comes on. So I'm excited for it for sure.
The grass is greener. The flowers are prettier. It's just the most beautiful backdrop, and you're already kind of itching for spring. It comes at a time where you're like kind of coming out of winter and you're really itching for that. And then you just see the bright colors, and it's like the most vibrant scene and pageantry of like the Masters. And it's the best golfers in the world on like the most beautiful playing surface ever created. And it's just a visual spectacle, and it's thrilling drama. It's Jim Nance, and you're probably going to take a little nap. Like you're going to get a nap or two in Masters weekend because you're going to be watching golf for a while. You're going to doze off for a few minutes. That's cool. Get that nap in early Sunday round, maybe right before the leaders tee off, or maybe even right after. They're on hole 2. I can nap for 2 holes, catch right back up with them. It is exciting. It's a kickoff to kind of summer almost. Like you skip spring, you really kind of go right into summer after the Masters.
Yeah, we might have to do a little Pay Dirt Masters draft pool or something. Or maybe even Will, that group we got for the tournament and fantasy football and everything. We might have to throw out a little Masters draft pool.
How does that work? So do you literally just get to kind of draft players? Like we'd all throw money in a pot?
So there's a couple of different ways you can do it. So you could do a random selection one. There's a 6 tiers and use 4, choose 5, use 4, snake draft. So there's a couple of different ways you can kind of do it, but essentially you draft and use or draft 5 or 6 guys and use 4. And then whoever has obviously the lowest combined score out of those 4 that you choose. So yeah, there's some pretty cool pools that you can put together.
Yeah. So you're not just picking winner, you're picking
4 good players that you're going to combine together. So it's pretty fun to do. I've had friends do it, but I haven't had a chance to do it. So maybe we'll have to put something together this year.
Yeah. I like that.
But guys, I think I don't have anything else on the Masters or golf wise. Anything else before we close us out?
I think that's it. All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. Remember, this is Pay Dirt Sports, part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. Be sure to check out sixpackcoverage.com. Check them out on social media at Six Pack Coverage. Check us out on social media, Twitter at Paydirt_sports, Instagram at Pay Dirt Sports. Check out the blog, paydirtsports.blog. Guys, thanks again for listening. We're about to watch this national championship, see what happens. So
go Heels.
Sure, we'll be talking about it next week. Guys, thanks again for listening, and we will see y'all then.
Pay Dirt out.